Good afternoon, my fellow YouTubians. After test fitting, we got the back half of the car back apart. A couple more pieces to take off, but I want to show you what I'm going to do before I take them off. And then we're going to get to doing the frame rails. So what I did was the inner wheel wells, the new ones I had, I test fit them together, and they were real. They didn't even fit together by themselves. It was really bad. So what I did was I cut out all the bad stuff out of the inner and outer wheel wells, and I basically cut out the exact same pattern out of the new ones, and I fit them in there and welded those in. So I did do the inner and outer wheel wells, and at the same time, because the trunk was in place where I needed it to be, I did plug weld it on the inner wheel well and along the floor pan. So the trunk pan is in place now where it's going to be staying. I will show you guys that after about the like how I welded it in or whatever. But so this episode will be doing the frame rails on the car and how I'm going to do it and why I do it the way I do it. I've done it on 3 different cars. It's worked perfect. I've never had a problem. So I'll stick to the way I do it, and so I'm going to show you guys how I do it. Just want to show you guys real quick so that's your floor pan, that's your trunk pan, and that's the brace coming off of here, and same on the other side. But so what I did was when I test fit the car, obviously the trunk was where I liked it, so I didn't want to move the trunk and so what I did was I did go ahead and weld that in place. Kind of premature, should have got it on video, but really it's just, you know, drilled some holes, plug welded it, nothing major, and it was in place. So the other thing is when I did the inner and outer wheelhouses, patching those, I did weld it to that like it's supposed to be. So the trunk pan is in place, and we're going to go ahead and show you what I'm going to do next to get the frame rails taken out of it, because the frame rails are still underneath the car but not welded in, and I'll show you what we're going to do. This is the trunk floor right here, and as you can see, I got some screws here. I got a bunch of screws in it all the way through that go all the way back down. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So also you can see I have some holes where, you know, I adjusted things, I moved them around, whatever. So those holes aren't going to be used. Obviously I'm going to plug weld them and, you know, fix them so they're not there. But so what I'm going to do is take a little bit of spray paint, and I'm going to spray paint over this section here and back there where the other screws are, but I'm just showing you right here because it's easy to see. I'm going to put some spray paint on, so when I take these screws off, these will be covered in the color spray paint I use, and when I take the screws out, there'll be a blank black spot where the screw was, so I'll know that the frame rail goes back in place where I'll be able to put the screws back in place to draw it up to be welded in. Same with along here, you see I got like a hole open there, and then I got screws there, so just put a tiny little bit of spray paint there and make sure that that's there. Same back here. This panel right here attaches to the frame rails. So I kept moving this back and forth and, you know, trying to make sure everything lined up perfect with the rear quarters and the trunk lid and all that. And so, you know, obviously I got quite a few different holes there. So put some spray paint here. That way I know that's the screw hole I want to use. Same with over there. You see I moved it around quite a bit. And that wasn't like guessing. There's flanges here and back that it all welds to, so I was just trying to hit different spots. But anyways, so yeah, that's we're just going to put some spray paint there. And now under here, see if I can get to a good spot where I can show you. Yeah, something like this will be good. All right, so basically, there's your trunk pan right there. That's the frame rail right there. You can kind of see the two different color blacks there. I'm going to spray paint. Sorry, I'm trying to get this focus better for you guys. I'm going to spray paint all around here. And that's going to leave me an outline of the frame rail. So then I could pull the frame rail off and drill my holes, not on the frame rail. I want to drill my holes through the trunk pan from the bottom. And then you definitely want to weld the trunk pan to the frame rails, not the frame rails to the trunk pan, because this is way thicker metal and you can get a good, get a good puddle of weld going in there before you hit the trunk pan, make it nice and strong. So anyways, I'm going to spray paint that in there, and that's what we're going to do there. And all the way down, all the way front to back. So we'll go ahead and do that right now, and then we'll start drilling holes up through the floor pan and the trunk pan so we can put the frame rails on. As you can see there, the outline of where the frame rail sits. So now what we're going to do is drill a bunch of holes. Normally I go about 1.5 inches apart, whatever, but I'm going to drill a bunch of holes up through, right along the edge here, all the way through, except for right here, because that's a boxed plate there, so we'll drill holes in the frame rail there to weld it in. But other than that, the rest of it will just be right through the floor here. So, yep, that's what we're going to do right now, is just drill a bunch of holes through here. So I'll show you what that looks like after I do that. That's all the holes drilled in, all the way up through to right here is where I stopped. Oh, right there is where I stopped, because after that there's a double layer on the trunk pan right there. So then I went ahead from there. Well, I drilled those holes and then again another double layer there. So at those double layers is where I drilled holes in the frame rail right here, all those, and then again right here where that double layer is. So we're gonna go ahead and screw this back into place, make sure we like it, and then weld it in. I got the frame rail back in place, holes are drilled, cleaned, all that stuff. So let's start welding it. Alright, now I'm going to go underneath the car and weld under there. I'm not going to video that because, well, it's painful. That's the frame rail welded in place. So these are the plug welds from up top on the trunk pan. That's what it looks like down bottom, so you can see it burned in pretty nice. Not pretty nice, really nice. But anyways, as we move down here, this is where it's double layer, and it's double layer up in here. So these are the plug welds on both sides, but these are the plug welds through there. And then after right here, we go back to now we're on the floor here, and that's plug welded from inside the floor, as you can see on both sides. But then as we get to the front, the lighting kind of stinks. I tried to put a light back there, but so these are plug welded. This is where the lip is on the frame rail to weld to the floor. So that's plug welded, but I went a little extra and put another bead right down it. Same on the other side of it. You can kind of see that one. So that's what that all looks like, all done. I'll show you what it looks like up top. So this is what it looks like up top right now. These will get grinded down. You know, I'll grind these down and make them flush, so you're not going to know they're like there. But so that's what that looks like. Along with, this is the inner wheel well that I did, where I piece it together. Yeah, don't mind all these. I weld it from front and back, so when I grind it down over here, I can flush it up and you'll never know that I did it. So, but anyways, this one I had to go all the way from front to back with on this piece. But all this will get cleaned. The only reason I haven't cleaned it all yet is because there's going to be a big mess here after we get these in. This is the rear inner brace of the car, like that goes at the bottom of the taillight panel, and then we got the trunk drop-offs that still need to go on. After those are all welded in and everything, then we'll grind down all the welds and make it pretty, and we'll also clean off all the rust around here, and use a rust capsulator or inhibitor or whatever to you know, after it's all cleaned down, put that on there. That takes about a day, two, something like that to cure. Then we'll scuff that down and we'll spray epoxy on everything, epoxy primer on everything, and then we'll put the rear quarters on and the taillight panel and all that. So, but for right now, that's how we did the frame rail, and I'm going to go ahead and do the other frame rail right now. Obviously, you guys don't need to see that. You saw me do this one. So next thing is we'll put the next video. We'll put the rear taillight or inner rear taillight brace in, and then the trunk drop-offs. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed the video of the frame rail there. I'm going to go ahead and get the other one done, and then we'll get on to more stuff. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you guys, and have a good night. Bye-bye.